this is coming. Twisted Metal is telling us where the world is going, and it's already being made real at this point. So it's realistic to think that way, and it's also scary at the same time. What's good, YouTube? Thank you again for always watching. Without you, I would be nothing. So thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I know you're going to like this one. So check it out. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy NS. I wanted to talk about the new Twisted Metal series. So I recently saw that the Twisted Metal series came out on TV as a series. Now, I don't know if you remember, but I remember the Twisted Metal game, the video game from the 2000s on the PlayStation. And so I didn't know the depth of it. I just knew the video game as a whole. And so as I saw the preview and I watched some of it, I wanted to kind of address it and tell you how this is coming. Twisted Metal is telling us where the world is going, and it's already being made real at this point. So it's realistic to think that way, and it's also scary at the same time. So, spoiler alert, I'm gonna break it down for you a little bit. Not go in detail, but give you a general preface of the movie or the series. So, essentially, the world fell apart, apocalypse, everything falling, buildings falling, planes crashing, bombs, all that kind of thing, and caused an apocalypse. And so what ended up happening is they get built into individual little cities, and walls get made around each individual city. So the walls around each individual city create safe communities in a sense, right? And so what they're doing is they want to keep the safe, what the preview was saying is they want to keep the safe people, the good people inside, and the killers and the thieves and stuff like that on the outside. And so there's a whole different thing in regards to the movie or the video game, sorry. And so with that information, there's the good on the inside, there's the bad on the outside, but there's a very few amount of people. Like there's the guy Anthony Mackie, he plays the milkman. Basically, he's one of those people that's kind of in the middle. He travels and transports things from good city to good city and stuff like that. Medicine, food, or things like that, I believe. And so while he's going from city to city, he also has to battle the killers and the thieves and stuff like that who try to take his goods along the way. But he also understands that this is part of the game, and so he has fun with it. He runs and chases. He has guns and knives himself, so he does kill people along the way. And so I kind of relate that to life, right? As one, this is already happening. Twisted Metal is coming, regardless of if we want to realize it or not. The TV series and the movie is telling us what is going to happen in the future. And so you need to be aware, you need to be prepared, and you need to handle it how you need to handle it best to prepare for that. Don't be one of those people that's just walking around willy-nilly, not really paying attention, and all of a sudden, bam, the world hits you. Don't be that person, because you're going to be thrown off guard, you're not going to be prepared, and then people are going to blindside you in any way, shape, or form. You're not going to have the right food, water, shelter to be able to protect yourself and your family. So always be prepared. Twisted Metal is coming. And I believe for me, who I am and the people in my community are those people that are in the middle, like the milkman who travels from place to place, traveling or transporting goods. And he's also okay knowing that this is part of the journey and that he's going back and forth transporting these goods, and also knows what he's going to deal with along the journey, and also is prepared to handle what he needs to handle. Now, he is a good person. He doesn't want to have to hurt anybody or kill anybody, but he knows it's either them or it's him. So he chooses him at the end of the day. So he makes sure he protects himself and what it is that he's doing so that he can live another day. Whereas most people want to live in the good city. They want to live without worry. They want to live in safety and stuff like that. But they also look at a higher power to create that. That's not realistic at the end of the day. The higher power is not looking out for the little person. As much as you want to think they are, as much as you think the government's going to look out for you and prepare life for you and protect you in any way, shape, or form, they're going to give you money and shelter and aid and stuff like that. They will, but they also want something from you. They also know if they're going to let anybody go at the same time, they're going to let go of the people at the bottom. They're not going to let go of the people at the top because they have the most resources and the most value to bring to the table. And the other side of it is the killers and the thieves. You know, they don't care what happens at the end of the day. They're selfish and they're for themselves regardless of what it is. So they're out there to hurt other people, to take from other people, use and abuse other people at the end of the day. So that adds no value in any way, shape, or form. At the end of the day, they don't care. You got to remember, they don't care when it comes down to that because they are looking out for self in a negative way. While the person in the middle, he's always looking out for both sides at the end of the day. He's the middleman. He's the one that can see both sides and understand both sides and play both games. Because at the end of the day, he's playing his own game. One side's playing their game, the other side's playing the other game, and the guy in the middle is playing his own game because he created his own game out of everything, and it involves everybody. And the biggest game in life is to accumulate the most resources. It's not about a finite game and winning like football or basketball or baseball or something like that. It's about playing the game and lasting the longest. And if you see in the Twisted Metal series, that's all it is. It's him going from place to place, battling people, battling anything and everything, and making sure he can live another day and accumulate resources along the way. So it's kind of like life as in general. The Twisted Metal series is a video game. So that's one thing of how I live. I live my life like a video game. At the end of the day, when it comes to the video games and stuff like that, the biggest thing about the video games, like if you played online and stuff like that, the biggest thing about playing online and stuff like that, when you're playing those shooter games, I don't know the exact term for it, but when you're playing those games that are online, you're playing against other people around the world, you have your teams and stuff like that, or you're playing for self. The biggest thing is you kill one and you take their resources. They kill you and they take your resources. And at the end of the day, the person that lasts the longest is the one that wins. So it's not really hey, let's race to the finish line. Sometimes it's just like, hey, let's last longer than everybody else. So if you're playing the game of life in general as if you're the only one who's going to win it, there's no other way, or there's another person who's going to win it and you feel defeated and you don't even want to try, at the end of the day, you're going to stay stuck. That's life at the end of the day for you. But if you change the way you think about it and you're like, okay, I know this is where I'm at now, but I know it's not where I'm going, and I know I'm capable of a lot more. I can travel a lot further. I can do a lot more. I can accumulate more resources in order to play the game a lot longer. Instead of thinking like, oh, I just need to have X amount of money. I need to have this relationship. I need to have this type of job. I need to have this type of trip. And then I'm happy and then I'm done. You're never going to be fulfilled living that way because you're looking for a finite answer to an infinite problem for yourself, which at the end of the day is you feeling better about yourself. Going on a trip, having extra money, being in a relationship, it isn't going to make you feel happy and fulfilled in life like you think you are. And you'll realize that once you get in there. I think it was Jim Carrey who said it. He said, I wish everybody would be successful so that you can see it doesn't matter. Something along those lines. So for me, I see life as a video game, as the infinite game. I think it was Simon Sinek. He wrote his book of finite versus infinite games. And so the finite game is what I mentioned before. It's playing a sport where there's a certain amount of players, certain rules, and a ending like, the score ends with whoever has the most points wins. And an infinite game is the one where it never ends, where you continue to accumulate resources time and time again to continue to keep playing the game. So if you keep finding ways to get more food in your system, you'll have more energy to keep going. You keep finding more food, you keep going. You keep finding more food, you keep going. It never ends because if you keep fulfilling yourself and feeding yourself with the resources, you can keep going. Or if someone just says, hey, I just need to eat one time and that's all I need, they're going to be stuck. I know that's an odd example, but it's the aspect of playing the game forever. It's not about playing the game for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. It's about playing it till the end at the end of the day. When you accumulate the most resources, you have the most time, you have the best skills, you can move in any way, shape, and form, whereas somebody who has only one skill set, they're only good in that area. And if it comes to anything else, they're screwed in life. It's going to be harder for them to maneuver in a certain way because that's the only thing they know. They don't know anything else on how to do things any better at the end of the day. So the game is to continue to accumulate resources. Infinite, not finite.